welcome back. Professor Emmanuel Osodeke joins us. He is the president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. We'll come to this lady a little later. Good morning, Prof. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Good morning, Chamberlain. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so many were somewhat surprised when ASUU had that meeting and reminded the country that the government had not done what they were supposed to have done. And it, well, yes, surprising. But perhaps before we go to the government's response, let me even ask you, other than what is out there in the public, many actually thought that behind the scenes that they had reached out to ASUU and then maybe they were putting in place certain things because that's what is expected. So when was the last time there was any form of communication between government and ASUU, as a matter of fact?
Thank you very much. You know, our union ASUU, we have our tradition. When a new government comes in, we give them enough time to see how we can resolve the issues formally and ensure that there's no issue for this threat. And then that's what we have done with this government. We're giving 11 months. And I can tell you, Chamberlain, that in this 11 months, we have not had any, I want to use the word, formal meeting where the issues are taken and recorded for future implementation. We have never had any formal meeting with any of the organs of the government. And we have written letters, and we have the evidence, and we have not been invited to the president, to the minister. We have not had any formal meeting with any of the organs of the government. Knowing that we have issues, and the leadership of this present government is aware that we have issues for which they intervene when we are on strike. But during the last government, and we expect that if this government had come in, they should have reached out to us immediately so I would sort out this issue for the benefit of Nigerian children, the children of the ordinary Nigerian, not the rich, who can afford to send their children abroad or to anywhere. But unfortunately, we are here today, and things have happened that are even worse than what we have in the past. A typical example is the governing council. Nobody anticipated that we'll have a university that will run for even 2 weeks without a governing council. But Nigerian universities, all of them, have been running for the past 11 months without governing council. Which means that all the action taken in terms of employment, a contract award, and what have you, have passed through illegal process. That is why we have to take this action that we took at the last NA. Having used all the other avenue to ensure that this is done and nothing was done.
I know that the NUC has spoken to the press ever since that, but have they now reached out to ASUU formally ever since your warning?
We also have not had any formal communication from the system. I did have a conversation with the NUC, Executive Secretary, Acting Executive Secretary. We had a formal discussion with him that they were going to set up a committee to constitute the Governing Council. And from us, we are surprised. Does it take you 11 months to set up a committee to appoint a governing council? Is there any university in the world, anywhere in the world, and I mean any country, anywhere in the world, that will allow its governing university to run for 1 or 2 months without a governing council? We're in Nigeria, where a university is being run for the past 11 months without a governing council. And people were recruited, and we have evidence. Contracts were awarded, we have evidence illegally. That is why we are saying this. We should not be part of illegality, and that's why I'm giving you the 2 weeks. After these 2 weeks, this illegality is not stopped, and all other issues, negotiation of agreement, the issue of payment of academic allowances, the issue of payment of releasing money that was in the budget, 2023 budget, for the revitalization of Nigerian universities. If these are not done, our union is going to meet, consider all the issues, and think of what to do.
Well, we are now in May 2024. You're talking about release of monies in 2023 budget. One would think that that has already been overtaken by events in terms of the fact that there is now a new budget in place. And I want to imagine that whatever was not taken care of in the 2023 budget has now been carried over into the 2024 budget. We also know you talked about your tradition and how you normally will give a government a long rope before you eventually decide to start engaging, as the case might be, if they are not forthcoming. But one of the things that we saw when this government came into power was the payment of arrears of salaries owed university lecturers, monies that had been withheld as a result of strikes. It was seen that there was a truce of some sort reached between university lecturers and ASUU, and some payment was made. And ASUU itself did acknowledge that happened between them. The Minister of Education did say that there was some engagement going on between the ministry and ASUU. Where precisely is the breakdown happening? Because you say you've not been able to speak with any organ of government. Will the Ministry of Education be inclusive of the organs you refer to?
Thank you very much. Like I said, I use the word very carefully. Formal, not informal. Formal meetings where decisions are taken, recorded, and you can use for the next in future. We have, to be very fair, the minister have done very well. We have good contact with him, but they are all informal. I know he also, and we have had contact, we will talk with him. I don't have any problem with the minister, but the minister, as we have today, does not control the system the way you have. I know if it's the minister alone we will have a governing council for the past 10 months or so. But what we are saying is, we need also how we work, so that we can refer to it. We may have an agreement is signed, we may have memorandum of understanding that is signed, we may have memorandum of whatever that are signed. We don't have that with any of the organs. That's why I'm said. That is what we have said, not about meetings. Meeting and we'll talk and you talk. No problem, but there's no documentation that show what we want to do. What is the pathway to solve this problem? You talk about paying 4 months out of the 7.5 months. You see, our Nigerian press to also do investigative journalism. Every university in Nigeria today are in 2023-2024 academic year. 2023-2024 academic year. Which means by September, October, they will be in 2024-2025 academic year. You can check. The implication of this is that all the work for which we were not paid, that we were when we were on strike, we have covered them by doing what? By making sacrifices. Our members, go and check. None of our members have gone on leave in the past 3 or 4 years. We put them together. We have not gone on vacation as we have in the past, so that we can cover the work that we didn't do while we were on strike, which we have covered. You can check. Go and leave university and check. Ask the students. But when you say you are paying 3 out of 7.5, I don't think you are being fair to us. Like people say that ASUU, academic staff, is different from other unions. When you go on strike, the backlog is gone. You come and resume new. But when we go on strike and we come back, we have to go back and start from where we stop. And we have covered them. You can do this. So what you say, President, you have not done on the favor. Pay the full. Meanwhile, this is not the issue for which we are on strike. You can also check. Payment of arrears of salary is not it's not an issue when we're on strike. In 2017, when the Buhari government came on board, we also gave him 2 years to study where we are. The agreement we have in 2009 indicated that in 3 years, every 3 years should be reviewed. So when in 2017, we tackled the government and they set up a panel headed by Babalaki to negotiate with us, because they agreed there's a need to upgrade our salary, our condition of service, and other things. So they met with us, and that negotiation failed. The reason you know. Then Musa Jubri was brought in to negotiate with our government. By the time we finished, they removed him and brought in the late Professor Nimi Briggs, who also met with us, and we reached an agreement, which was scuttled. But this government is aware of all this. And you have been in power for 1 year, you don't want to refer to that agreement. We believe that the first thing we should do is let's renegotiate our agreement. 2, reconstitute the governing council also were illegally removed as far as we are concerned, because by the law of every university and the ministerial law, for you to remove the governing council, they would have committed an infractions. But when you just with a full sweep remove all of them, and 1 year you didn't, what we're actually saying that they should not a new council, they should bring back that council that has not completed its tenure to complete its tenure, because that is what it is. What we have done, just removing them for not committing any crime against the law. So that is it. So meanwhile, 11 months, nothing has happened. And allowance.
I think some of the requests now are becoming a little clearer in terms of what it is. First, you've also said, that the fact that they paid part payment is not enough. They should pay the rest of the arrears because you have caught up with the curriculum. And then two, they should bring back the former governing council, which was dissolved. But what I'm saying is the conversation which you have had and the relationship with the Minister of Education, which you say is cordial, one would think that these agitations will start from there. You don't think so? Where precisely do you think your first point of contact should be in relation with government, asking for more formal meetings and asking for the request that you're placing before them?
Well, we must tell the Nigerian public that the present president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, was one of those who intervened when we were on strike, informally. One would expect that. And when we came in, we also wrote him to request for a meeting, not just to discuss our issues, but for the academia, we, the brain of the country, to also give him, and we saw the panel who came up with it, to also give him a document, and we believe will assist him in reposition Nigerian education system and the economy. But we didn't get a reply. This minister, like I said, the meeting we have with him is a down-to-earth man. But the meeting we have with him are all till now informal. We have written a letter now to have formal meeting, which has acknowledged, and we do believe that within these 2 weeks, they should be able to organize this formal meeting. Let's reach some understanding that our member can be happy about. Let me tell you, the impact of what is being happening in this Nigerian academy today is this, and I will tell you this. A large number of our members are leaving the country because they are a lecturer still earn about $300 a month. A lecturer who was earning, when we negotiated the agreement, was about $1,500 a month when we negotiated in 2009. Now it's $300, and they still earn the same thing. I can go to any country here and earn $5,000, $6,000. He will leave. Two, many of our colleagues, and you can also check, anytime we go for a meeting, we have long lists of our people who have died out of poverty, pauperization. They can't take care of their head. And they're also passing through stress to meet up the backlog of work done. A large number of colleagues are dying, and many are in hospitals to speak to you. And the government seems not to be interested. And two, while this is on, you are busy proliferation university all over the place. And nobody has cared to do a proper survey of, one, the quality of lecturers in this university, especially the private one and the new one by state government. What is the quality of lecturers in those universities? Did they meet the standard? Two, we should ask ourselves, because as General of Africa, how many lecturers from West Africa are teaching in Nigerian universities? I mean, West Africa. How many lecturers are teaching? How many Nigerian lecturers are teaching in West Africa country? Large number. There's no university in Africa. You go to Africa and you don't see a Nigerian lecturer teaching. But there's no university you go to Nigeria and you see a foreign lecturer, even from West Africa, teaching in Nigeria. That tells us something wrong, and the government has to do something as quickly as possible.
Prof, the small talks you've had with some officials of government, does it in any way refer to a comment from the Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, which says that the federal government is working on the reconstitution of the governing committees, the governing councils of the universities? I don't know if you're aware of that one. It says that to reconstitute the councils of 61 universities is not a small feat. Government is working to ensure that people who are qualified and with the right pedigree are put in those councils so that they can deliver on the president's promise.
Well, we also have a formal meeting with him. I also told me this. But our question is, why was the last council dissolved when they have not finished their tenure? Did they commit any infractions as dedicated? For the law said that for you to dissolve a council, they must have committed an infraction for which you are removing them. So why were they removed? Political. So if you remove them, does it have to take you 11 years, 11 months to reconstitute them or bring them back? That is the question we should ask. And now you are telling us now after 11 months that you are a local organizing committee that you put in place to constitute council. After 11 months. So let me tell you the question. That will move, what we are doing now, we will give the room for our international partner to say we are not a serious country. That you allow university to run for 11 months without council, which means that all decisions taken, contracts, appointment, adjunct, what have you, are illegally done. we should ensure that our university can compete with the university in the world. And that's why we are poorly rated. There's no university would have allowed that. So we have had informal contract. He has told us, why should it take you 11 months to constitute a committee? In the past, when you constitute a committee, what we are saying, bring back the old council to complete their tenure. You don't need a committee.
Okay.
Because when President Buhari came to power, he dissolved council like this. And we told him it's illegal. Check the law. And he got his Attorney General to check the law. And he advised that it was illegal. And he brought back the council. And you are doing the same thing now. Bring back the old council. When they finish the tenure, appoint a new one. Okay. You don't need a committee.
Yes. Well, Mr. John Oloyede has also joined us, as you saw earlier. He's a legal practitioner. He's right here in our studio. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
What do you make of all of this that is happening? It will seem like sometimes whatever government comes in wants to put their foot on the ground as quickly as possible, but sometimes it would seem as, do you agree that with ASUU that this is against the law?
Oh, no doubt about that. What Professor Oshodeke has said is definitely in tandem with the law. I mean, they ought to know better because it's their industry. But quite apart from that, we have a situation in the academic sector where government appears to be taking 3 steps frontwards and 10 steps backwards, right? So the situation is so alarming. It is not a new discussion. The conversation we're having now is not fresh, it's not new. He just said it, that when Buhari came into power, he did the same thing. And they had to implore him that, look at the law. Tell your Attorney General of the Federation to look at the law. What you are doing is wrong. Now, transition. The government that left, the President Buhari's government, this is an offshoot of that government. That is President Tinubu's government. The governing councils of these 61 universities, they were put in place, presumably, by President Buhari during his own time. And they've not served out their tenure. Why did this government have to now tell them to go? And then it's taken 11 months. I mean, it's not rocket science. What the erudite professor has said is applicable in any industry. Even without law, let's forget law. Let's talk about common sense. The universities should not run without the governing council in place. Even when they had governing councils, there were a lot of problems with many universities. Internal wranglings, court actions, all over the place. We were all witnesses to all that. Now there are no governing councils. We keep on saying, oh, the Nigeria that we have is a creation of the Nigerian citizenry. Every time people say, oh, we have the kind of leaders we deserve. They say, okay, what are you doing in your own corner of the world to make Nigeria a better place? I mean, these are lecturers. They are saying, look, we have this particular law in place and you are not conforming with the law. What does it take 11 months to look at the law and do the right thing?
But one of the questions one might want to explore here, Mr. Oloyede, is why? Why does this happen? I mean, it's not like there is some political, I don't know, maybe I'm just speaking off the top of my head here. Why is it that sometimes whenever any government comes in, the first thing to do is to, dissolve boards, dissolve governing councils and all of those things? It usually lends credence to the assumption out there that governments just want to politicize everything.
Well, the professor said it. He said the reason why the governing councils that had not served out their tenure were dissolved was political. And it came out of your mouth. You said, Paul, then you withdrew it. I can say it boldly. That is all political. Government is supposed to be a continuum, especially where the party that was ruling is handing over to somebody from the same party. There should be no need or no basis for you to throw out everybody and start afresh. It is not the councils of universities, every other council of any government parastatal or agency, they dissolve them and they start, because the new government has obligations to party faithfuls. They have to bring in their own people, the people that would dance to the tune of those in power today. It is a very sad commentary on where we are as a nation It is very sad. But that is the reality of the Nigerian nation. It is not the norm. It should not be the norm.
What should be the tenure? What is the tenure of an average governing council?
Well, I don't want to speculate. I believe it should be the regular time, like maybe 4 years. I'm not sure. I can't say it off heart. But whether it is 2, 3, 4 years, you can look at it from this perspective. When President Buhari came in, he was told that, look, the councils you are dissolving, they've not served out their tenure. Look at the law. So presumably, those councils were appointed by President Jonathan. So let's say it's for 2, 3, 4 years. If they have not served out their tenure, it doesn't matter how long it is or how short it is. The important thing here is, why dissolve councils that are still supposed to be in place? Because in any event, the intent of the law is for a council to start a project and finish it within a given time frame. So when you checkmate them, when you dissolve the council without having spent the tenure for which they were put in place, it means the new council will start afresh with new things. And just like government at the national level, these people too will then begin to bring in their own people, that's the university councils, to do new things, bring in new projects, award new contracts.
Okay, well, we'll still raise some other issues with you, but, you know, Prof, what next is the question anyone would want to ask you right now. Now, this is where we are, this is where we find ourselves, Prof. What next? Where do we go from here? Now, you have been making efforts to speak with government and it will seem like it is not happening. What are the conditions on the table? What are the options on the table beside strike?
Well, thank you very much. But let me clarify a few things behind before I come to that. The tenure of the governing council is 4 years. 2, the composition of the council is that you have 6 members from the government, from the president, who nominates 6. Then you have about 10 or 11 elected by the universities, which means that the government membership of the council is less than the one nominated and elected by the Senate, by congregation, convocation, and what have you. So it would not be right for government to just wake up and say, I dissolve the council. What are those who were elected, the 4 members from Senate, 2 for congregation, 2 from 1 from convocation, the vice chancellor appointed? So what happened? So I think the university should be treated differently from this political, whatever they call it, so that we don't have this problem. 2, like I said, what is the way forward? Like I said, the issues are very clear. The negotiation of our agreement that started in 2017, it should be concluded. There's already a report by the Nimibris Committee. The government should look at it and call us to say, well, because of inflation, we want to adjust it, we will present it, and let's sign, and that's all. 2, reconstitute, reinstate the dissolved council. But if governments want to change their members, the members they nominated, they can change that. But that we should assume that council will not dissolve. They will still serve before the 4 years as stipulated. 3, the money we have was last year's budget. You know, they are still implementing budget today. Let government go back and implement those things. If literally the Speaker of the House of National the Speaker then of the National what's called the House of Rep is the President, Chief of Staff to the President, and he gave us a copy of that budget and what was indicated. They should go and implement it. 2, we also have an agreement with understanding with that government that our end agreement will be mainstream into our salary, which was done for 1 year, 2021. We still have 2022, 2023 outstanding. They should go and pay, and then need that assessment money. Release the money to the university system. We don't want to hear we don't have money, because if a government can award contract of 15 or 13, 15 trillion naira to construct a road, and we are asking for just 200 billion naira for Nigerian universities, all of them. So if they had that money, they should have money for this particular project. 3, they should reconsider the government council immediately, and a few other things that are remaining. And 3, very, very importantly, pay the 3.5 months salary that has still been withheld, haven't completed the work. It's no work, no pay. We have done the work, they should pay. If not, we also bring the theory of no wake, no work, no pay, no work. Because we have done the work. It's not work, no pay that they said. Now we have done the job work, they should pay for the work that will be done. Finally, every country, every system will move when there is room for meeting with people and having understanding to solve the problem. And that's what we're asking for. Let the government come back to us. Let's discuss the issue of that you have listed so that we can move on. This government policy is that no more strike. We so much love that no more strike, but government must do its part so that there's no more strike.
All right, Prof. I mean, clearly spelled out there. So, as you have said, government has to formalize the communication and invitation, so you will not take what is out there in the dailies or in the press as any form of invitation. So we do hope that they will do the needful and ensure that we don't throw the academics or university system into another round of this back and forth. Thank you for talking to us today, Prof, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.
All right, we're going to head back to Lagos. Good to see you, Mr. John Lady. And yeah, I know as soon as you came through, almost coming back with this back and forth in law again in Rivers, we have the judges, the courts, all questions concerning them. So are you concerned, how concerned are you about particularly the position of the law with respect to what's going on in Rivers? So Lady.
Well, any Nigerian must be concerned with the way and manner the law is being trampled upon by all parties concerned. What is happening in Rivers State at the moment is very sad, and I say this with all sense of responsibility. Nobody has done well by the law, either party A or party B. I mean, you cannot begin to understand how a house that made up of 32 persons has a situation where about 3 persons are now deliberating and taking decisions on behalf of the good people of Rivers State. You cannot begin to understand how a structure that was built, even probably before the birth of some of those who have been governors or who are governors today of Rivers State, the structure will be pulled down just so as to prevent the sitting of a duly constituted House of Assembly. But having said all that, I think the Nigerian people, Rivers has always been a hotbed, I mean, in Nigerian politics. All the time, a lot of things happen there, and the way and manner the government, whether at state or federal level, handle the situation on ground would determine how well the history of the political leaders today will be written.
Well, we've seen the federal government, not the federal government now, the president more specifically, intervene in the matter to see how they can bring about a political solution. And we did see how the governor initially said that no price was too big for peace in Rivers State. He seems to have gone back on those words now, and it does appear that both parties have now dug in the trenches. There are some of your colleagues who believe that legality alone will not solve the matter, that politics, a political solution will still be the way forward. I do not know if that is your own stance as well, but if it's where would you say that we start from?
Well, I'm not a politician, I'm a lawyer. That's my industry. So I will not subscribe to the notion that political solution is the best solution. There are laws of the land. I've said this several times, I mean, in this studio, that we have enough laws to regulate our lives in this country and to make us good citizens and make Nigeria a better nation. We know, everybody, I mean, lawyers and the court system, they know what the law says about cross-carpeting, especially where there is no division in a political party. The laws are there. There have been judicial pronouncements on that. If you want to live, if you have been elected by people on the platform of a party, and then you no longer want to remain in that party, what the highest court of the land has said is as clear as night after day. That is law. If people can sit down and begin to look at that, there will be no need for us to say, I mean, you have a state let us just be commonsensical about this. You have a state that is presumably being governed by a PDP governor. You have a state where people voted for PDP members to be in the House of Assembly. And then one day, the members of the House of Assembly decided to go to another party without giving any reasons. Now, there's a fight between the former governor and the present governor. In fact, the former governor was the godfather to this new governor. And then they went to Abuja. You see, the problem with political solutions is just that. And then there were speculations about, whether Mr. President, brought some document for the parties to sign and say, okay, we're going to pull punches, we're not going to continue with this fight. And then what has happened to the political solution? Nothing. Because today, the solution has proved ineffective. The fight has become even more. The war is bigger and bitter. So, if we continue to say there is going to be a political solution, politicians don't trust themselves. There is no loyalty that goes beyond the tip of the noses of every politician. So I don't agree that if everything is submitted to the court system, I have to believe in the court system. Some people have gone to court, some people have been displaced, some people are planning to impeach. All those things, there are judicial pronouncements on how you go about them. It is about process, it is about procedure. Let us make sure that the grievances are ventilated through the court system. And then whatever the court says, we would abide by it. Not everybody will be happy at the end of the day with whatever the court says. It is impossible. But I don't like political solutions because right now, the political situation in Nigeria should tell anybody that political solutions are not anybody's.
Perhaps if politics had, perhaps if the political remedy had gone ahead, maybe we wouldn't even be here. By that I mean, there are those who have contended that over time, politicians, the political parties, seem to fall behind the queue when certain political juggernauts, so to speak, showing themselves strong in a particular political party. This issue in Rivers State, for instance, there are those who are wondering how come the national body of the party doesn't have its voice. Back in the Second Republic, no politician had any voice stronger than that of the party. In the First Republic, the same thing. Even in the Third Republic, which was botched at some point, the national leadership of the political parties had more say in anything. But this republic seems to be different.
Yes, it will be different because there is no party discipline. Now, you talked about, the political party issue. Which political party are you talking about in Rivers State? Is it APC or PDP? Because we have a hybrid system in place.
That's why I said if it had gone ahead, if that had been the position, do you think it would have resolved anything?
We will be using conjecture. We are saying, let's speculate. If things had been normal, are we going to have this problem? No. Because in the days of UPN, NPN and all that, you belong to a party, you rise or fall with that party. Your party leader has the final say. No matter how bad the decision of your leader is, you have to abide by it. And when you check out, when you walk away, you are committing political suicide. But today, in Rivers State, the man who claims to have put the new governor there is in PDP and is working with APC at the federal level.
That's not the first time.
Well, it's not the first time. That is the reason why, if we have to look at it from the perspective of political parties, I say the Rivers State situation is not susceptible to political solution because you don't even know which party is in control. So which party do you appeal to? There's a fight between two PDP persons who are supposed to be in charge of Rivers State. They took the problem to an APC president in Abuja. The APC president came up with a formula for solving the problems and says, you, keep quiet, you, stop shouting. And they went back to their different locations. And what has happened? Because the man, neither party was ready to abide by the political understanding that was put in place by the president. The president is not supposed to be the political leader of the governor and the former governor. The political leader of the governor and the former governor, we don't even know who the person is.
Which is why I'm saying, okay, well, because it's not a matter of conjecture, Mr. Oluyede.
Yes.
It's a matter of, okay, let's see a long-term solution.
Yes.
If the political parties had teeth, if they had the authority to do what they should do by all democratic tenets,
yes,
we won't find ourselves here.
I agree.
And most of the political parties tend to have the same challenge of individuals being stronger than their institutions.
Yeah.
How do you think we can reverse that so that this doesn't happen in another 10, 15 years?
Well, before I go into the main question, I can say that today in Nigeria, you probably would say the only party that seems to be amenable to discipline is APC. And that's because the APC is in power. I mean, they control the largesse.
Are you sure that is the thing? Because the PDP had
I would say seemingly, the APC appears to have some form of party discipline. Okay. You know, the ugly trend was about to rear its head when some people said, oh, we've removed the chairman from the ward level. All these things happened in other parties, Labour, PDP and all. They said they removed him. But somehow, you will see that the noise has died down. The people who tried, they have been quashed. Now, going forward, you see, the problem that is manifesting at the state and national level is not starting today. It started from inception. We never really had political parties. We had a formation of strange bedfellows who came together to win power.
Mr. Oluyede, I think you are opening another vista to this conversation because what it sounded to me like, look, you know what? Let's press the reset button. Well, I'm sure we are going to have to pick this up some other time. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you very much.